I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, August the 25th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Fast acting, short dosage, easy to use, short withdrawal period, effective tulathromycin injection at an affordable price, and no BS. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards in Carthage, Missouri. They are expecting a big run here today for the Monday feeder cattle auction, expecting at least 9,000 head of cattle. They kind of had a short run last week, and then the markets come up even more a bunch, so they're drawing a lot of cattle. And they're going to start real early at 5 o'clock in the morning, get through those cattle before it gets late in the afternoon there. Check them out at DVAuction.com, view or bid right there. They are having a special cow sale this week, and keep note, it is Wednesday, not Thursday like a lot of times. It's a special cow sale on Wednesday, right after their weigh up sale that they always have on Wednesday morning. This Wednesday cow special will be starting at 4:30 in the afternoon, and Joplin will be closed the next Monday for Labor Day. So this will be the last feeder cattle auction for 2 weeks there. To check their schedule and everything else that's going on at Joplin, go to joplinstockyards.com. False alarm, and likely the media will be raging Monday morning about a human infected with the screwworm. Now, this has nothing to do with cattle. So if they try to blend that somehow, it has absolutely no legs under it. It's a person in the state of Maryland, and they had recently traveled to Guatemala. And we know that there's screwworms down in that part of the world, and should have been more careful or whatever, and got those, found them. It has nothing to do with cattle at all. So whatever they try to do in the media to stir that up, just don't pay no attention to it. But it likely will affect the futures, and the Reuters is the ones that mainly put it out, and the writers for Reuters took it upon themselves to guess that it was going to affect your cattle futures. I hope it doesn't, but we need to let everybody know it has nothing to do with cattle. So I don't know why, I guess everybody thinks screwworm is just synonymous with cattle. No, what about the deer, the wildlife, everything else that can get that? But try to put that fire out the best you can. I want to recognize the passing of Forrest Lucas. Forrest Lucas was big, Lucas Oil, big in motorsports. You might be thinking about the Indianapolis football team. They owned the rights to their stadium. But Forrest Lucas was a cattleman, and fairly big in the cattle business. He has a sizable farm in Missouri, and a purebred herd there. Here at DVAuction, we work the production sales there for that farm, and always been great to work with. I mean, just total gentleman, just take you right in and treat you like family, and really good guy. And so we're going to miss Forrest Lucas. He was a good ambassador for the cattle business, and I tell you what, he did us a good job. I also want to tell you something that I recently learned and I was shocked about, and you're probably going to be shocked too. But I learned that my late friend and hero Bob Foote is not yet in the Cattle Feeders Hall of Fame, and I'm not sure why that is, but he is nominated for this year's ceremony, so we need to make sure that he gets in right away. I can't see how they could have a Cattle Feeders Hall of Fame and not include Bob Foote. Very instrumental in the cattle feeding business there, but and his boys still are. But we need to get in there and vote. You can find that online. Of course, it's on social media too. You've been seeing the the little pop-ups from the Cattle Feeders Hall of Fame, but we need to make sure that Bob Foote gets in there as quick as we can. Had a cattle on feed report on Friday. It was a good report. The numbers were bullish, but it was a slightly bearish as compared to the average and the analyst guess. I told you last week they made some real aggressive estimates last week, and it was going to be tough to reach those. But if we had have reached all of them, I would have thought it had been super bullish, but didn't quite reach all of those. They that's what happens whenever they get too aggressive there. It's hard to have a bullish one, but it was the first time since 2017 that we found under 11 million head of cattle on feed. So that was big. I think it's the first time in 80 months that we didn't have 11 million cattle on feed. Now most people would think that was bullish. There was 151,000 less cattle placed than there was marketed. I think that would be bullish. But like I said, the quotes were not bullish as compared to the average analyst guess, but not bad, just slightly off there. August 1st inventories come out to 98.4 compared to the average of the analyst guess, which was 98.1. Placements in July come out to 93.9 compared to 91.2 was the estimate. Marketings in July slightly up, 94.3% of a year ago compared to 94.1. So the industry is going to read that as slightly bearish, and likely the board's going to see both of those bits of news as a downer, but you go to looking at the whole picture, and then I don't think it's going to be down long. I want to tell you about the Nebraska Angus Tour. If you're interested in that, it's September 21st through the 23rd, and this year they're going to be headquartered in Valentine, Nebraska. Should be real interesting. If you're interested in doing that, you need to be making your room reservations this week, because that block of rooms expires on September the 1st. But that starts on Sunday there. They're going to have a little golf tournament there. They're going to have a meeting and a banquet on Sunday. Then Monday and Tuesday, they are going to be touring some of the fanciest Angus farms that you can see up there, right in the area that has the best cattle in the world. I mean, it'd be really interesting to see those farms there and look at the livestock you're going to get to see. So check out that Nebraska Angus Tour. Here at the Feeder Flash, we like sale barns, and we like to recognize them every month. Recognize one that in particular is doing a good job marketing cattle for their customers, and VITALIX is a sponsor of that. They're all about boots and no suits, and that goes right along with this sale barn especially. But this particular barn, they do a great job of marketing fed cattle and feeder cattle, and they've had some really impressive feeder sales in the last several weeks, on top of being a market finder for us early in the week. But it is Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota, and they do a great job there. They offer DVAuction broadcasting. Greg Ryken does an amazing job of balancing that fed cattle market. I mean, a lot of sale barns would love to have an active fed cattle market like that, but not everybody would be able to balance it there, keeping those buyers happy, keeping the cattle coming in there, keeping the market good, and he does an amazing job there. So congratulations to Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. Let's talk about your board for last week. August live cattle futures, Monday was up 47, Tuesday was down 40, Wednesday up 220, Thursday up 12 cents, and Friday up $1.30, with August contracts ending the week at $239.95, which was up $3.70 for the week. I told you last week, I'm trying to make y'all money. I told y'all last week that October contract looked like a buy. and it closed this past week at 237.87, up 7.22 for the week. So there's your hot tip. It's a week old now. Feeder cattle for August: Monday was up 275, Tuesday was up 165, Wednesday was up 522, Thursday up 60 cents, and Friday up 397. It's just up, 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 up. And August contracts on the feeder cattle board ended the week at 360.35, up 14.20 for the week. Wow. September was up 15.22 for the week at 362.67. Look at your grains. Corn, new crop December 411.5 at the end of the week. That was up 6 1/4 cents a bushel. Beans for November 1058.5, up 26. And hard red winter wheat for September ended the week at 498, down 9 cents a bushel. Your fed cattle trade through Thursday of last week had already sold 52,700, and that's a good weekly movement. And then we got Friday's stuff on top, so it's going to be a big movement of fed cattle for last week. The market was up, and everybody was anxious to get some cattle moved. The price range on fat steers and heifers in your 5-area feeding region, negotiated direct trade, 240 to 246. That was steady to $10 higher. Your weighted average on live steers, 244.92 through late Thursday there. It'll change a little bit on Friday's editions, but that was up 291 for the week. Dress sales ranged from 380 to 392, $2 to $4 higher. Your weighted average on dress steers, 386.20. That was up 342. But then Friday we had even more trade. In Iowa they sold nearly 2,000 head, and then that was 30,800 head for the week. Live sales in Iowa on Friday, 244 to 246. That's at the top of the range. And dress sales from 385 to 391. Nebraska had not really any trade there on Friday. They sold 22,600 head for the week. That was a good movement for them. Kansas sold 2,700 and 3,900 for the week. That's not much trade there. From 237 to 245 live sales on Friday. But on the Fed Cattle Exchange, we actually got to see some Colorado trade. We never get to see Colorado trade because of confidentiality rules with mandatory price reporting. But on the Fed Cattle Exchange Friday auction, they did sell cattle in Colorado at 245 bid the grid. So that's a little bit of market transparency for you there. In Kansas, Fed Cattle Exchange did sell some Charlotte Cross cattle there at 240.5 live. And Texas didn't have any sales or actually Texas sold everything they sold on Friday, 4,750 head. First sales they've had in 2 weeks, and they've moved more than Kansas to that point. But that was 240, and that's $5 higher than the last established market in Texas. Box beef cutout values were sharply higher for the week. Last week, your weighted average on last week's, all of last week's choice cut sales, 406.61. That was up 15.22 for the week. And that compared to the previous week's weighted average. Late sales on Friday afternoon were another $1.30 higher than that weighted average at 407.91. The weighted average on all of last week's select cut sales, 381.46, up 15.30. And by late Friday afternoon, it got even higher than that, 220 higher than that weighted average at 383.60. So the cut and the kill back a long ways sure has put a spark under this wholesale dressed beef market. But tell you what, if you look at the fixed costs in these plants, the average price to slaughter one head on these tight schedules is huge. But your weighted or your choice select spread on your weighted average, 25.15, and all of that information based on 477 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Slaughter for last week, 547,000. They stepped it up there a little bit late in the week. That compared to 530,000, so 17,000 more than the previous week. But same week a year ago, they slaughtered 609,000. But talk about what else is going on. Farapiece, that revolutionary product that is scientifically proven. I've been talking about them for a long time, and now it's a household name. Address the stress in your cattle. Do high-risk cattle and non-high-risk cattle. I know Dr. Rodrigo wants us to stress that your cattle don't have to be high-risk cattle bought one at a time out of a sale barn and stuck on a truck for 20 hours. That don't have to be that to get some good out of Farapiece. He has also done some research on single source cattle, yearling cattle, low stress, ship those cattle to a feed yard, everything low stress, and they give them all Farapiece, and they had more weight gain, they had more marbling. I mean, what else would you want, guys? And it's only $3 a dose. Got to give it to them. For more information, go to Farapiece.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood. Your real-time index ended the week at 356.85 based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states. That was up 1074, and that's a 7-day moving average with a ton of volume in it, guys. That's big. Latest CME cash feeder cattle index late was 350.18. Talk about your cash feeders. They were $5 to $15 higher throughout. Just sharply higher everywhere. Calves were even more sharply higher. Even ballers. And even in the heat last week. It's going to be cooler this week, so it'll be a little better for that. But even ball and calves. And heifers selling really well. Not much of a steer heifer discount there. Guys just want possession of them more than anything. Talk about bluegrass stockyards in Richmond, Kentucky. They do such a good job there. Every Friday they just have droves of cattle come in there, and they are your Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard Handling Equipment. Stick out sale of the day, and look at all these big strings of cattle going through there in Kentucky, guys. In a brick and mortar sale in Kentucky, right in town, they're getting all these strings of cattle right in there, guys. Including in there, as you can see, it had 70 heifers, weighed 773 on Friday, bring 350, 320. There were 184 steers, weighed 872 at 350, 272. 152 steers, weighed 797 at 363 and a quarter. Wow. 109 head of 973 pound steers in Richmond, Kentucky at Bluegrass Stockyards. Bring 335.70. Very impressive. Give you some individual quotes from all around, mostly in South Dakota here. St. Ange Livestock, that's my buddy Justin Tupper up there. He had a whale of a sale on Friday. He sold 63 steers, weighed 935 at 360.50. Wow. How about Harriet Livestock in South Dakota, a recent addition to DVAuction broadcasting family there. They sold 118 steers in one swath on Friday there, weighed 1023 and bring 340 and a quarter. Wow, dollar them up. But the most impressive quotes that I saw late last week or over the weekend were from Winter Livestock Auction in Winter, South Dakota. And I am going to be traveling up there and doing a speaking engagement there for the local Farm Bureau. Check them out. It's going to be right there in town and coming up here right away in September. I can't remember the exact date, but you can check that out. But at Winter Livestock Auction on Friday, they had the two most impressive quotes. I'll give you the most impressive heifer quote first. There was actually 272 of these Toman Charolais cross spayed heifers, and they better feed like steers because they brought a big steer price. They weighed 843 pounds, sell for $371.50. But the Macrocin No BS top quote for the day at the barbecue special in Winter, South Dakota had the Provosek brothers with 65 steers that weighed 906, bring the highest price any set of steers with a 9 front number ever brought, $365.75. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.